This video is intended for a technical audience, such as software developers, tech leads, or system architects. In this video, we will answer the following questions. How does each piece of the digital toolkit work together? How do those pieces work together with other Jack Henry APIs? How do those pieces work together with non-Jack Henry APIs? Each of these topics will help us uncover how you can upgrade the banking experience with the Jack Henry Digital Toolkit. Let's start by talking about each piece of the digital toolkit and how those pieces fit together. First, the plugin framework. This allows you to extend the Banno interface. Using plugins, you can also embed the best of the fintech world directly into the user's dashboard. Second, the consumer API. This allows you to access user data. The consumer API is the way for you to securely retrieve the user's financial accounts, transactions, and more. Finally, the admin API. This is how you can programmatically manage the back office. The admin API allows you to create solutions for an institution's back office support tools. Next, let's talk about the authentication framework. The authentication framework is the foundation for everything we do, because security is at the foundation for everything we do. It's built on OAuth 2.0 and OpenID Connect. The authentication framework allows you to cross-reference users, as well as map customer identities to your existing system IDs. The authentication framework uses access tokens to manage authorized access for third-party apps. The access token is encoded in JSON Web Token format. Using a real-world analogy, think about access tokens as being like house keys, car keys, or similar. Anyone who possesses an access token can use it to access resources. In this example, we are using an access token to access server resources via an API. There is also a concept of identity tokens. Authenticated identity information about a user is provided to third-party apps via an identity token. The identity token is also encoded in JSON Web Token format. In this case, the real-world analogy is like a driver's license, passport, or similar. The information in the identity token is about a single individual. In the displayed example, we are using an identity token to cross-reference a user to the consumer API, a hypothetical loan application, or an existing system identifier in a database. The last type of token is a refresh token. When an access token becomes invalid or expires, a new one can be obtained via a refresh token. Think about refresh tokens as being like tokens used for a vending machine, laundromat, or similar. The refresh token is exchanged for some other thing, i.e., an access token. As an example, this graphic shows how you would use a refresh token to exchange for a new access token. The next part of the digital toolkit is the plugin framework. This allows you to extend the Banno UI. It also allows you to embed the best of the fintech world directly into the user's dashboard. The Banno digital banking platform gives users quick access to information via a card-based UI called the dashboard. You can build your own custom UI cards using the plugin framework. Plugins are web apps that are built with basic HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Plugins are meant to be responsive and adapt to a variety of screen sizes for a great user experience in both Banno Online and Banno Mobile. A plugin is hosted in your own public-facing web server and is requested by the Banno UI as needed. Public-facing means that the web server must be accessible via the public internet and cannot require the user to be on a specific network or VPN. This includes all server-side services as well as the front-end card UI displayed to the user. Plugins can get authenticated info about the user via the authentication framework. Using your public-facing web server, plugins can use a variety of APIs, for example, the consumer API. Next, let's talk about the consumer API. This is how you can access user data. Since the consumer API is also backed by the authentication framework, you can securely retrieve the user's financial accounts, transactions, and more. As mentioned previously, you can utilize the consumer API from your plugin once you've authenticated the user. This allows you to access user and account data to create more dynamic plugins. The consumer API is based on REST and has predictable resource-oriented URLs which use standard HTTP verbs and status codes and returns JSON responses. Since it is a REST API, you can use whatever programming language you are most comfortable with, so long as it can support web requests. The Consumer API works with the authentication framework to protect access to the user's data via OAuth and OpenID Connect scopes and claims. An access token is obtained via the OAuth 2.0 authorization code grant flow. Each endpoint of the Consumer API may also have a specific scope required, which you will have to request from the user when you authenticate. This allows user to opt in to any data sharing for an additional layer of security. The third part of the digital toolkit is the Admin API. This allows you to manage aspects of the back office programmatically. Using the Admin API, you can create solutions for an institution's back office support tools. The Admin API allows you to manage and integrate the back office using the same API that powers the Banno admin back office tools. With the Admin API, an access token is obtained via the OAuth 2.0 client credentials flow. The client credentials flow requires authenticating with a signed JSON web token that uses a public key plus private key pair. Once the access token expires, the external application requests a new one when necessary. Just like the Consumer API, when an external application authenticates itself with the Admin API, all actions are performed and logged as a single associated user in Banno. These actions are also limited to the permissions assigned to that specific user. We also suggest using the minimum necessary privileges. The permission required for a specific endpoint can be found in the endpoint's definition in the API reference. Next, let's continue by talking about how to use the digital toolkit with other APIs from Jack Henry. For banks, you can utilize JExchange, which integrates with the Silver Lake, SIF 2020, and Core Director cores. This allows you to translate business information between Jack Henry and third-party software products. For credit unions, you can use SimExchange, which integrates with the Scimitar core. This allows you to query member accounts, post transactions, run Power-on scripts, and more. You can also access various payments as a service. This supports the latest services like FedNow and RTP in your products or operational platforms. You can also access traditional services like check deposits, ACH transactions, bill payments, card issuing and processing, and more in your products or operational platforms. You can also access the Enterprise Event System. The Enterprise Event System has a publish and subscribe model where events are emitted from Jack Henry applications to the Enterprise Event System. You can subscribe to those events and perform actions based upon them, for example, activating a workflow. The Enterprise Workflow System provides the ability to create custom workflows to automate your operations. There is also a marketplace of existing workflows that you can use off the shelf. Banno emits events to the Enterprise Event System. You can configure workflows in Enterprise Workflow to activate based on those events, and call APIs, such as the Digital Toolkit, to automate your operations and reduce the workload for your staff so they can focus on relationships with account holders. Finally, let's talk about how to use the Digital Toolkit with APIs from other companies. The Digital Toolkit can be used with a variety of non-Jack Henry APIs. Plugins, in particular, commonly use external APIs. In many cases, fintechs have their own APIs, and your plugin can make use of those APIs to bring innovative solutions directly to your account holders. You can also use API services from popular cloud and software as a service providers. It's also important to know that you can build your own custom APIs or reuse your existing APIs. As an example of services which have been built, and you could also build: financial literacy, digital account opening, direct deposit switching, wealth management, retirement planning, estate planning, investments, credit scoring, savings, marketing, small business invoicing, skip-a-pay, and many more. To get started and learn more, the developer docs for the Digital Toolkit and more are available at jackhenry.dev.